Two of them, sorry, two of them in the Constitution. The third one is no-fault divorce. The divorce laws that you and I that Reagan signed in 1960.
And that's where you get divorced, no fault, but the house goes to the government.
To the government. Right now, the house goes to no one.
Whoever. You fight over it or you sell it.
Yeah, you fight over it. You both lose the house. Or if you let her have the house, she ends up foreclosing on the house because you were the breadwinner. It is part of what the progressive movement desired. They desired socialism in this country, and they succeeded.
So
can see it runs contrary to the bedrock of what our country, our nation was founded on.
You would think.
The principle of private property, no taxation without representation. What you earn, what you work for.
Oh, sorry, that makes it a third one because the estate tax is also a pillar of the Communist Manifesto, taxing people when they're dead. It's
I think Trump's bill just get rid of that?
No, he reduced it.
He raised it.
He raised it. Sorry, he raised it from 5 to 25.
To 25 million.
And he tried to erase it entirely.
He did. He tried.
Who stepped on his toes? Marco Rubio said no, but that would imply you, and everybody would accuse us of you getting a tax break. So what? So what?
Yeah. So it would make us look bad if you got the big tax break.
Yeah.
Because when you die, your kids get it.
What about you're ignoring all the other multimillionaires and billionaires who should not be taxed because they died? Look how many people crapped out when Bush left. Bush left an 11-month window for failure to sign one of his budgets. He let something lapse that allowed there to be no estate tax for an 11-month period. It was like a window loophole, and everybody crapped out.
Everybody died.
Bunch of billionaires crapped out. Steinbrenner, this huge guy in Texas, he saved his family billions of dollars.
Steinbrenner's a Tampa guy.
Isn't that pretty cool? I mean, I don't know if it's intentional, but it just so happens. Hey, man, I think a perfect time to punch out, save my kids billions of dollars. I'm gonna die anyway. I mean, there was like over 25 billionaires who died in the 11-month window.
So, but my point, what we were talking about is, because as an immigration lawyer, is trying to make immigration. You missed my opening monologue, but
you want to repeat it? Read it again.
You want me to read it again?
Yeah,
I can read it again.
Actually, I'd like to see you translate it in Spanish.
You want me to do this in Spanish?
No.
Seriously?
I don't want you to do anything that you don't want.
Yo puedo hablar español. Él habla español también. Él parla italiano.
And you're
Luis parla italiano.
Any kind of Spanish descent or no? Just
no, my grandfather on my father's side was a citizen of Venezuela because he migrated from Italy to Venezuela and lived in Venezuela in Caracas. So he's.
Oh wow, yeah. That's a beautiful story about America. We've got all these.
And my Jewish grandmother was born in Ireland. So they were coming from Russia, fleeing. She's born in Ireland. I have Irish passport because my my mother's father, mio nonno, he was born in Asti, in Italy. And yeah, he spoke. So I'm an immigrant.
There's a lot of Italian Jewish
mixture
romance in New York.
Yes.
There's a Rosenblum on every block.
Matthew,
they get along.
They get along. Yeah,
it's all about guilt. It's all about guilt.
It's all a nuclear family thing, right?
It's all about.
Hey, a shout out to my boy Matthew Dapolito, Italian dad.
Is he a Jewish guy?
Yeah.
So, my mother and father eloped. My mom's 15, my dad's 20. They eloped on Christmas Day to Virginia. It's the only place.
Your mom was 15?
My mom was 15. It's the only place a 15-year-old could get married without parents' permission. So my uncle drove them down to Virginia. They got married. Justice of the peace came back. It's a true story. And my mother told the Italian side of the family, "Hey, I got married," so they beat the hell out of her. They said, "How could you? It's going to be annulled." They did stuff. So my father goes to the Jewish side of the family, and he tells them, "I married Carol." Da da da. And they're like, "You're killing me. I'm having a heart attack." So it's the two cultures are interesting. The one culture, the Italians are slapping the crap out of my mother, and the Jews are slapping the crap out of themselves, worrying about themselves. So let's go back, since I'm going to go read this again. I want to get your opinion on what I wrote when we did the opening monologue, and I'm going to do it one more time. Congress has purposely been remiss in passing immigration reform. The left wants a victim group, and the right wants cheap labor. Actually, it is embarrassing as an American citizen to have come to the point where we have 12 plus million illegal aliens in our country, while all political parties argue over a wall, no wall, amnesty, no amnesty. Meanwhile, organized crime syndicates bring hundreds, thousands of people across our southern border every year. I have been advocating for a simple fix to this problem for years. It is called the Systemization and Educational Renaissance Act, or SERA. It works very simply. The 12 plus illegal aliens in the United States, through a fee-based system with no cost to U.S. taxpayers, are given a work permit and a travel document. No permanent residence or path to U.S. citizenship, no amnesty. They are issued a special Social Security number. And of course, they will have to go through a background check so as to weed out the bad players. But at least all these legal aliens will finally be in the system. Then you take the estimated $18 billion in taxes collected from these now systemized illegal aliens and earmark it to specific educational and vocational programs for the most disadvantaged of our U.S. citizen children. The taxes do not go into the general tax slush fund for special interests or pork barrel spending. You build computer schools where children can learn coding, app making, etc. in the Chicago's urban area, for example. You can help African American children throughout the USA, not just Chicago. Or in rural Appalachian, you can build vocational schools such as auto shop, plumbing, and other skills children can learn that they can use and still earn a good living that's been so forgotten about in the USA in the last 10, 20, 30 years. Latin American children who want to learn to play a sport or study the arts can have a sports camp or theater classes in their communities. The possibilities are unlimited by our own imagination. This is at all no cost to U.S. taxpayers. The illegal alien presence problem is solved, and we start a renaissance for our U.S. citizen children who otherwise would not have the opportunity to have a hand up instead of having a hand out.
The court is
What
yours.
say you, Senore?
Well, if you can get that passed, you'd be my hero. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense. You're offering a solution to what seems like an intractable problem that nobody can find a solution to.
And that actually comes from 30 years of practicing immigration law and being on the front lines.
I don't find a flaw in what you're suggesting, but I do believe that if you propose something like that, you're still gonna have a great deal of people that don't have incentive to come out of the dark yet, because so far you're only showing me what's the benefit of the American citizens. But for the illegal,
No,
they
get it.
just get
No,
like
they get
peace
it.
of mind.
No,
That's it.
no,
Well,
no.
they don't get deportation.
They get
No, but
they don't get deported. They got to travel. They can go home, visit their families, go in and out unobscured. They're not subject to the 3 and 10 year bar, which it gets complicated too. They have if someone's here more than 6 months but less than a year and leaves the USA, they can't
that
come back
goes
for
into
3
that,
years.
The question you wanted me to ask about the difference
Yeah,
between
there's the tour.
the tourist visa
Right,
and
they wouldn't even need a tourist visa. They could go home, visit their family. They've stayed here for so long. Their parents, their grandparents have died. They would be so happy. They'll pay $1,000 to $2,000 to fill out the paperwork, get fingerprinted, get their work permit, and get a travel document. There literally would be 10 million people that would do it. Because and also there's also not the brightest individuals on the planet would be the criminal element. Would say, they'll get fingerprinted and photographed, and we'll pick them up.
Well, I don't see those guys coming out of the dark.
I disagree with you. You do now. I've done this for 30 years. You do know how stupid criminals are.
Well,
That's why they're
it wouldn't be-
criminals.
So you're implying that it's stupid to come out of the dark.
They come out of the dark, get fingerprinted, nobody's going to catch them.
Well, I think
Trust
the
me.
criticism to that might be, if you're playing devil's advocate, that giving a sanctuary to illegal immigrants and giving them
A path.
work permit, a path to be able to
No
work
path,
and
work, and travel.
Well, no, we didn't say path to citizenship. He said path to work.
path to work. You're still taking jobs away.
They're
from
already here.
America.
They're already here. They're already here.
They're already here. Look, as an attorney that represents,
If they're going to be here, you might as well tax them.
as an attorney that represents a lot of small
Tax them and take the money.
entrepreneurs
Yeah.
here in South Florida, we have to acknowledge the elephant in the room that there's a lot of use of illegal aliens
Farming
Okay.
alone, we would
all,
starve.
all over Miami.
All
okay?
over the nation.
Okay, I'm talking about the Miami experience. Okay, so by doing this, you're also allowing employers to lawfully employ, give work to these. I'm going to use the term illegal aliens, even though we'll come up with maybe a less. Some people
Sarah,
are,
they will be
some
called
people
Sarah
are
aliens.
insulted by that. They find it
Sir,
to be derogatory.
I understand that the left doesn't like to say illegal, but let me just finish that. If you went to the bank and robbed it today, would that be an illegal act? Robbing a bank is an illegal act, yes or
Illegal
no?
act.
It's a legal act. Coming across the
Right there.
border is a violation of 18 U.S.C. 1325. First time is a federal misdemeanor. The second time is a federal felony. It's an illegal act. So you're legal. Now there's a difference if people come on tourist visas, which we'll talk about in a minute, and other visas, an overstay. That's not an illegal act yet. That becomes unlawful presence. They're just unlawfully present. So there's a distinguish between...
Which is 40%.
Which is 40% of people here are unlawfully present.
Right. But my point
Good.
is...
When does it become illegal? After a certain amount of time? Or is it forever that way? People
Meaning?
who expire their tourist visas.
If they stay over 90 days. I guess.
After
Well,
90
no,
days,
there's
now it
no,
becomes
there's
felony.
well, there's the ESTA and there's a tourist visa. Okay, tourist visas are B1s and B2s. Okay, B1s are tourist are visas for business, coming to a convention, coming to sign a contract, coming to a board meeting of a corporation. Even your maids, the maids and domestic employees that people bring over on their investor visas can get B1s where they can work for the family and be the nanny for the family. B2 is you're going to it's Disney World. Okay, you're coming to 2 weeks to bring the family to Disney, to go to New York, see the Grand Canyon, and go home. The thing is, when you hit the airport, generally when you have a tourist visa, they give you automatically you get 6 months. You get 6 months. They just 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. Rarely you'll see 1 month, 2 months. If they look in the computer and say, hey, you're coming here too much, we're only going to give you like 30 days. All right. Now there's a group of countries that don't need a visa to come to the United States, apart from Canada, and they come here on the ESTA visa. All right. What is? They fill out an online application, passport and everything. If it approves them, they get a 2-year window where they can just get on a plane and their passport automatically sees it, and they come in and they get 90 days. Now the difference between the tourist visa and the ESTA visa is the ESTA visa you get 90 days. You can't change to another status. You used to be able to come in and marry a U.S. citizen, and you still can, but the State Department under Trump has eliminated the 30, 60, 90 rule. If you do something in the first 30 days entering on a tourist visa, it's a presumption you committed fraud when you entered. If it's between 30 and 60, it's a rebuttable presumption that you entered with the intention of doing something contrary to being a tourist. If it's 60 to 90, this is the old rule. If it's 60 to 90, it's up to the officer to make the determination if they think they want to play with it or not. After 90, it's out the window. You can do what you want. What the Trump administration did was they eliminated the 30, 60, 90 rule and it came out of the Foreign Affairs Manual, which is the embassy. So that means now when, let's say, you come in and you marry an American in 2 weeks on a tourist visa, but you file the papers and you go home to whatever country you're from to get the green card. Well, the consular officer now, since that rule's been eliminated, can say, you know what? I gave you a tourist visa. You went and you got married 3 weeks after you got there. Your shooter used a fiancé visa. I'm denying your green card. Okay? Because you committed fraud when you entered the United States on your tourist visa. That's the new rule under Trump.
Yeah, but is there
Okay.
any discretion the fact that love is...
Listen, you know how many people say they're in love? When they're all,
I mean, it's kind of hard to disprove or prove.
Yeah, they don't care. The prove. I mean, so and the ESTA visa is even tougher because you got 90 days.
Because that's really big in Miami. I mean, Cubans are the most beautiful romantics ever.
And Cubans are the most
There's no
entrepreneurial,
one greater than a
capitalistic
Cuban
people I've ever met.
Yeah, man.
Entrepreneur capitalists.
Cuban women and Cuban men, my God, they are Romeos, like it's going, and Juliets.
Which is really sad, by the way.
No, it isn't. We're handsome. What can I say?
I mean, we're talking about the
Hey, man,
we're talking about the Cuban Refugee Act, where anybody can marry a Cuban, whether it's Chinese.
Yeah, you become American.
And you get your residency.
That's still in existence?
Absolutely, 1964.
No,
that's dry foot, wet foot. We know about dry foot, wet foot, don't we?
Yeah, he punished the Cubans for voting for Trump, so he took away the wet foot, which he did us a favor because it was a Clinton idea and made